Oh, good evening and welcome to Be More Super Live. Dan Fudge is back. Do you know what I've just thought? I took a picture while I was in Blackpool,
Right.
and it's a big shop, and in neon lights it says "I love fudge." And I should have really got that picture up to show you because it made me chuckle. I asked the wife to take a picture of it while I was driving. But I've got to say hello to Julia Plews. She's just saying hi, Brian, and hi, Dan. Hello. Thank you for watching. Everyone else watching, if you've got any questions for our wonderful guests for tonight, please comment and we can bring it on screen and we can ask them live to the lovely guests that we'll introduce you to in a moment. I'm drinking my dirty, which we will introduce. We got these sent to us, and it's a coffee drink made out of mushrooms. Dan, you haven't had yours yet. What are you laughing?
You've sold it really well there, but I feel like you've oversold it. Well, cool your jets, Benny.
Listen, it's got lion's mane in it and loads of other different mushrooms. I don't know if they're magic, but it's apparently supposed to aid your focus.
Do any other animals have a mane, or is it?
I don't know. It's not from an animal. It's from a mushroom, mate. It's from lion's mane. It's just called lion's mane because it looks like a lion's mane, I presume. But anyway, let's get on with tonight's live stream. So last night we had Dylan Walsh. Next week, this time, we've got the wonderful Eric Valdez. He's a very good-looking man, Dan. Very good-looking.
Again,
I think I'm just going to
one.
stare at him for the entire stream and let him
That's
talk
fair.
to us about cars because he's very much into his cars. He's got his own podcast and YouTube channel that we'll talk about. But tonight's guest, all the way from the Smallville Gazette, I cannot wait to introduce this guest on. She is known to many as Chrissy Beppo, but let's get Sofia Hasmik on the show. Sofia, welcome to the show, my love.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm
Sophia,
so excited.
Sophia, he's got his giddy voice on. Sometimes you get some guests and he's not that bothered, but I tell you what, tonight he's got his giddy voice on. I can hear it. It's palpable. I can taste it. But
I know. I am so honestly, I'm so excited, and it gives me another excuse to wear this wonderful hat because Dylan Walsh actually sent me all of his crew hats, his stunt jacket as well. You know, it's like a jacket that keeps you warm. I don't know if you've got one as well. Obviously, it's slightly too small for me, but I've got it hanging up with pride. It gives me targets, I suppose, to try and get down to Dylan Walsh's size. But yeah, so I'm really excited to have this hat on and my arrangement of hats behind me. But how are you, so Sophia? How is life treating you, and what is happening in your world right now?
I'm good. Life is treating me well, and I've just been so excited because the show has been broadcasting and it's been airing weekly, and it's been such an exciting. It's just been so exciting to sort of have something to wait for. With like excitement and anticipation, and I always love seeing how everything sort of comes together from paper to screen and that entire process. And so life's been treating me pretty darn good.
do you ever get the fear? Like we've spoke about this with a number of guests before about like creating something that's that's a huge part of your life for such a significant amount of time, and then there's a trend on the internet to slag something off. You know what I mean? To really go to town on it once it's come out. People. You see a few comments now about Deadpool and Wolverine has become this mega hit of a movie, but now people are like, well, it's not very good, is it? And all the rest of it, and the way that Marvel's gone. Did it ever give you the fear? Did you ever go, oh my God, what if they didn't like it? But you're 4 seasons in now. You must be pretty confident in knowing what you're doing is right?
I don't know that I would say that I'm very confident in what I'm doing is right, but I trust everyone else. I think that such a beautiful show has been created, and no matter how like freaked out I am over something that like I'm a part of, and I always get like a little sort of like I'll close my eyes when my scenes come up sometimes. But I just marvel in it, honestly, and you kind of just get into a habit of releasing it. It's not really yours at a certain point. It's everyone else's, and it's not. There's only so much you can do, and it's at the end of the day, it's not totally up to you how it's received. It's art, storytelling, you know.
Well, do you know what? Confidently, I can say it's been received very, very well, and it's a bit bittersweet because knowing it's the last season, it's like I want to watch the episodes, but I don't because I don't want it to end. Because this show, for me being a massive Superman fan, when it got announced, I was quite concerned because with anything with Superman, you sort of don't want your sort of your passion gets sort of destroyed on screen. But as soon as I watched the first season, I thought to myself, this show is in good hands. Great writers, the budget, obviously the special effects. It's just fantastic. Just quickly, whereabouts are you located at the moment? Is it Canada, America, Hawaii?
Los Angeles. I'm in Los Angeles right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The land of the free, the land of where the streets are paved with gold, Dan. You go
all the waiters and servers are all screenplay writers, and they're all actors, aren't they? Every one of them, as far as my understanding of American television and movies go. Everybody who works in a restaurant and works in hospitality also does entertainment on the side.
100% in whatever order it is. I am about that grind. I get it.
Yeah, get it. Dave and Buster's, sign me up.
I've never been to one of those. Never.
Mate.
Yeah,
mate. I think we spoke about this before, didn't we? About how they have like characters that like play, like the servers play like a certain character, and you get like a backstory and things like that. I think what's his name? What's the Hulk? He was Mark Ruffalo. He used to work at David Schwimmer did it as well. He did it back in the day. There's a wonderful clip of them on the Graham Norton show, swapping stories about Dave and Buster's.
I didn't know that. You know what? You learn something new every day. But let's talk about season 4. Well, more importantly, season 3, because it ended in a true Superman and Lois style. It ended with a bang, with a cliffhanger, and we didn't know what was going on. I had some very good contacts that told me what was going on behind the scenes, and then we hear the news that potentially they're not going to bring any of the cast back, only a few. So when all this happened, how did that make you feel? Because having, been this character for so long and in this show for so long, and then potentially you not coming back to finish the next season. I mean, what's your play on this? I mean, how did that play out for you?
I mean, there's always a level of uncertainty. I mean, to be completely honest, every season felt like a gift, and anytime I got to step onto the back lot or any location when we were filming and play Chrissy, it was just a true blessing every single time. And I tried not to get too ahead of myself throughout this entire process. Like in season 1, I was just a recurring. I didn't know that I would be coming back. So every season after that, I was like, well, we're just going to have to wait and see if they want me again.
Sophia, that is a wonderfully media-friendly answer, and we'll probably clip that and do really well. But you're allowed, with a safe space here, you're allowed to go. Do you know what, Dan, Brian? I was absolutely shitting myself. I was, you know what I mean?
Do you know what?
You're allowed. You're allowed.
All I want to know is, was there a WhatsApp group? And were there a lot of quite explicit emojis being sent around the group?
I mean, I don't know that there were. I mean, there was obviously uncertainty. You just really never know. You never know. There was so much of sort of like the dynamic of the network shifting and everything that was going on, and then of course the strikes that were happening, and it's just you kind of just had to go with the flow of everything, I guess, and just be like, if we have it, we're meant to have it. I personally, I totally wasn't that worried. I just kind of, I really.
Yes, I was that confident. I was the best thing in this damn show. Why would I be worried? What's the matter with you?
It's not that I wasn't worried that I would come back. That was always a toss-up. But I wasn't so worried about the show. I knew that it's such an incredible show with a phenomenal fan base, and the fans make so much of it. There is so much love in it. It's an incredible story. It's written beautifully. It's stunning to watch. Like I didn't feel in my gut that was the end of the chapter. It just didn't feel quite it yet for some reason. And you can ask around with the other cast. I was genuinely like, I think we're gonna be okay. But I think, but for me, with Chrissy and my journey with the show, I was just genuinely excited that we were getting a 4th season.
Yeah.
That was that I feel like was the achievement of it all. So many shows, and we were on the cusp of that. So many shows end so abruptly. You don't get to have that fall. You don't get to see how the characters are doing, and you're kind of just gutted very fast. You're blindsided. So to have that 4th season, I was like, oh, it doesn't even matter. Like the fans will get their story. This journey will continue. And they're in such great hands. And so I think I sort of released a bit of that. I was like, this story of Superman, and particularly this one story of Superman and Lois is bigger than anything else,
I mean, it's a bit like a relationship breakup without closure. Do you know what I mean? You need closure. There is too many shows out there that break up with you and don't call you again. They're not bothered. They don't care.
They unfollow you on Instagram.
But I tell you what,
out of WhatsApp groups.
Yeah. But I tell you what, my show Be More Super were the first ones to announce all the news of the potential cast not coming back. Yes. Do you know what? There were so many websites out there going, Be More Super. Who are they? And everyone was like, yeah, I think you can believe them. And then I was the first one to announce that everyone was coming back one by one. So I was like, there you go. Yeah, stick that in your pipe and smoke it. But when you got the news that you're coming back, was that a phone call or was that an email? How do they do that? Is it a letter by a raven? I mean, how is it done in LA?
Is it like an owl? Like on Harry Potter, like just send a massive owl.
Stop it, Dan. Get out of my head, because I was actually just thinking that. It was actually a magical scroll that was dropped.
Magic owl.
We want you back.
I can't remember. It must have been a series of phone calls, but it also, I'm pretty sure it was like an email and then a phone call is what it was. And yeah, wow, I can't even remember. I'm having such a hard time keeping track of the order in which.
That's really interesting, though, Sophia, because you've got that element of they send you an email, and if they write in the email, yeah, you're coming back. The first thought would be to go screen grab, group chat, and go, hey, I'm coming back. And then there's somebody there goes, oh, I'm not. You're like,
I haven't got the email yet.
I've not got the email. You're like, oh, that's awkward. And then you have to kick them out in the middle of the night so they don't notice they've been kicked. It's a whole thing. The politics around it, I bet, is difficult, isn't it?
It was, I mean, I'm very good at just minding my P's and Q's.
Yeah,
to be totally
good idea.
honest.
I'm terrible at that.
I'm just gonna receive information. Someone will let me know. I will fact check it. Then I just am very like, all right, I'm just gonna let it all come to me. I'm not really big on like anything. I don't speculate much. I'm just like, well, all right. If it happens, when it happens, whatever. If it's an owl, if it's a phone call, whatever it is, I just wait for it and sort of like, just stay in my lane during.
But you know what? I am so glad that you got that owl, deliver that letter, because your story, like I've said many, many times in different interviews, that Superman and Lois, there's no such thing as small characters. So when they said that they weren't bringing back certain characters, I was like, how dare you? We're so invested as an audience. You should be making it for us, not your pockets and your budget. if you start something, you've got to finish it. So this season, so far it's been absolutely epic. So when you received that script of knowing what was in store for Chrissy, I mean, you can talk about everything that's happened up to, the last episode. That's fine. So if people haven't watched it, tough. Do you know what I mean? This is a stream for the hardened Superman and Lois fans. So stuff them. If
have you got your spoiler alert graphic? Have you got your spoiler alert graphic? Let's get that up now.
There we go. Spoiler alert. There you go. So, what was your first thoughts on when you got the script of what was going to happen so far that we've seen?
From this season, you're saying?
Yeah.
I knew that it had to happen because of the proposal and everything, and the pregnancy and all that stuff. And so, like, I was like, all right, how is this going to play out? But it just, I was really, I was very shocked and not shocked, I guess, at the same time that they didn't go through with it.
Mm-hmm.
They sort of like took their time with it. I was like very floored by that episode reading it. Because there were so many moving parts and there was so much happening in that one episode, and Chrissy had gone through so many feelings so quickly from each scene to each scene, and it was done so well that like I had anxiety reading it a little bit. But I mean, everyone does such a great job that they just
to be fair, I had anxiety watching you, to be fair. Everything that you're going through, I was like, oh, bless her. She's going to fall apart any second. I was like, I don't know what to do. I want to help her. But you know what? Who wouldn't marry Eric Valdez, eh? Who wouldn't marry, Kyle Cushing? We're going to ask him this next week because. But what I liked about the story, even though she didn't go through with it, I think the beautiful thing about it is it's re-established their actual love for each other. And the fact that it's not right this second, but they're going to build on it for the right reasons. But we're going to talk about that more in a second. But I always wonder that when you get that script for that character, and you've played Chrissy now for many years, where would you like Chrissy to go? I mean, did you feel that when you received the script, you thought to yourself, I would have loved this to happen, to her, if there was no limitations? So, like you taking out Doomsday, I don't know. I mean, is that something that Chrissy would like to do?
Chrissy just develops superpowers and she's on a mission.
It is going around. Jordan's got him now. Do you know what I mean? Who's next? Do you know what I mean?
I know. That would have been fun. No, honestly, like, you guys, it's just such a boring thing. I feel like I'm very boring because I honestly, I really did love what they did, because even if it wasn't, she didn't get superpowers, she didn't go fight, like she didn't do all this stuff, but she stood up for herself. She found like a different side of confidence. She's grown so much that I think my biggest thing was I wanted that growth as a person to continue. She really kind of found herself, and I got to do that alongside her. A friend made a really good point the other day of saying, like, she started off almost like this, she's a hustler, but she was just seemed very young to me. And I know that not that much time had passed, but she really grew into this incredible woman who has tackled so many things throughout her time in Smallville and throughout meeting Lois and Superman. And I feel like every season has just been some massive sort of chapter in her growth. So it was fun. It was honestly, it was so fun for me to be jumping around in a wedding dress.
Do you know what? I was actually looking back to everything that your character has gone through. And literally to unpack that in one stream, it's not enough time. It really
A
isn't.
lot of therapy. A lot of therapy for the poor
from
girl.
from Ali, especially Ali Alston. I had her on the show. Amazing, absolutely amazing.
You made
woman.
a noise. What was it? What was your noise? It did a little noise.
I did. She was amazing. Absolutely amazing actress. Scary as hell. Scary as hell in the show. But I mean, obviously, this season we see you deal with pregnancy. Obviously, wedding, not wetting, wedding jitters,
Wedding.
and your scary mother, which I've got to say is a scary mother. She softens up towards the end, I've got to say, and then she turns a corner. What was the most fun scenes to shoot this season that we've seen so far?
I loved that the diner scene with Lara and Eric. It was so uncomfortable. It was so unbelievably uncomfortable, but so much fun because it was just real. It just felt, it was like, honestly, it was such a fun, it seems like such a simple thing, but that was just such a fun scene. And you understood everyone's dynamic in that small moment. I love scenes like that. And of course, the dancing at the wedding. Like, who doesn't want to be jumping around take after take? It was a proper party. It felt like a proper party in that moment. We don't get those that often.
And do you know what? I absolutely love that scene, seeing you all dance. And now I know where the whole budget of this season's gone, and it's gone to Bon Jovi. For the song Runaway that was featured in the episode, because when that song came on, I went, oh, they're spending that money. They are making it rain for a bit of Runaway. But when you're filming it, because I've done a bit of TV and film, and I did a TV show once, and we was in a nightclub and we were dancing, but because they had to get the dialogue from the two main actors that were in the room, there weren't any music. So we had to dance, and I'm sure that the song in my head was completely different to every single person in that nightclub, because I looked like I was listening to rave or something, while the rest were like,
I know that feeling. I know that feeling.
So
if you look back at a movie called Shank from 2008, 2009, you will see a Dan Fudge in his late 20s absolutely busting a shape to the hardest techno song going, but what was playing was some chilled out garage music. So
there you go. So the question is, what was being played while you were all dancing? Was it Runaway by Bon Jovi, or what?
It was Runaway. Yeah, it was Runaway. It was. I'm sure they turned it down for the dialogue, but no, we were all thankfully on the same page as to what was playing.
You see, that's a high budget output. That is, Brian. The spit and sawdust shite that we've done. That's the difference. You see, they put it in post.
Yeah.
I mean, they've told you what was playing. First of all, that's not.
Well, to be fair, I was back then. I was a mere extra. Do you know what I mean? They unchained me and dragged me into a room and told me to dance like a monkey, and then I got paid. So unlike you living the dream there in LA and being on Superman and Lois, you get treated very well, but opposed to us. You
get treated very well by being told what song is playing.
So
highest order.
Was it awkward to dance? Because I love how it went slow motion and everyone just looked so good dancing. Was it awkward? And was you looking around thinking, actually, they're not very good? And, they can dance. I didn't know that.
Dancing wise, was I? No, I'm usually the one panicking about how I'm dancing. So I'm almost certain that I'm the most uncomfortable. Like, it's always fun, but it does start off with like, okay, everyone's watching me dance. This is really weird. I now don't know what I'm doing. And I'm sure Eric will tell. I mean, we always have fun. Last season we got to do a dance together, and then again for the wedding. But I I feel like I do stiffen up. Like, I feel like there were moments when he was trying to guide me, my body was refusing to be guided.
I'm in charge.
So, yeah, I just, it's very, and then honestly, looking at everybody else and seeing everyone just having so much fun. I'm hoping they were having fun genuinely, but it just really looked like such a fun time. And that's what made me feel a little bit more comfortable.
And a show like this, moments like that, you've got to take, because literally this show is so sort of dramatic at times. I mean, nothing's easy. Every episode, something dramatic is happening and it becomes very epic. So when you get a heartwarming moment like that, where everyone's together, dancing, smiling, there is a great artist that I've become friends with. He's a French artist, and he did that for the actual episode, which I think is fantastic. And he did one for Dylan Walsh as well. And but how lovely is that? I mean, I can always always organize one to get sent to you, a nice print, because I'm sending one to Dylan, so I'm more than happy to send one to you as well, as like a gift, because I forgot his first name. I think it's Michael, but it's French, so I don't know. It's Michael. I don't know.
Michelle.
I know. I feel really bad. So yeah, I'm more than welcome. You know, more than happy to send one of those to you. But I love the comment: a perfectly good wedding, if only. And everyone stood around watching. I just think that's great. And I've got to say, Eric does look like he's going to bust a bit of John Travolta moves there.
Yeah, he looks very like, see, this is what I mean. Like, he looks like he can dance, and I'm just deliriously happy.
You're like, I've had a few margaritas, I'm fine.
That's exactly what I mean. I just look like I'm having a great time, but no, it's very clear. Eric's a phenomenal dancer. I'm more of like a joke dancer. I don't even know what that means, but
I'm like that, to be honest. I never take myself serious. You know what I mean? I think if I'm going to be dancing, I might as well just have a good time. Dan, on the other hand, you never can find him.
I feel like you're doing it wrong.
You never can find him.
I feel like you're doing it wrong, kid.
No, you're normally up the bar. You know what I mean? But you know what?
Tell you what, actually, but while we're talking about that, before we go to the adverts, Saturday was my birthday, just gone, and Friday night I was in Portsmouth. I went to go watch a football game, and then we went into, now, Sophia, there is a bar brand in the UK called Pop World, and they're renowned for being terrible, but their entire shtick is to play a load of 70s, 80s, 90s, early noughties pop music. It's all just pop. Sorry, my internet's cutting out, isn't it, as I'm telling you this story? And there was a period where I had too many tequilas. And to tell you that I didn't drop an absolute beat when I was recreating NSYNC's Bye 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 at 1 a.m. on Saturday morning would be an understatement. I'd be underselling it. Everything. And I'm 6'3". I can still move at 44. I'm not playing games now, Flower. You're doing dancing wrong, kids. Don't get in your own head about it. Just learn the routine. And some people are going to say something now.
I don't think youngsters dance now anyway, do they? I've never seen that youngsters dance.
I had kids videoing me and everything. A video surfaced of me on X the other day, so must have been doing something right, clearly.
Yeah. As long as they're the only videos that come online, that's all we've got to be concerned with, Dan. But you know what? We're going to go over to the sponsors message. Sophia, don't go anywhere. Here we go with a message from Tim from Prop Store.
Prop Store's entertainment memorabilia live auctions are a fantastic way for you to own a piece of the movies and television shows you love. With over 1,800 lots in this year's London auction, we're going to start by taking a look at Ridley Scott's Gladiator. Or the 1963 Oscar-winning classic Cleopatra, with the costumes of Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor. And for the first time ever, a rare glimpse into the archive of special effects legend Ray Harryhausen, with Ray's hand-drawn artwork, his personal annotated scripts, and most amazingly of all, the models, castings and sculpts actually made by Ray Harryhausen. A remarkable collection of spaghetti western costumes, including these from The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. And it wouldn't be a prop store auction without Star Wars. This is the famous Mind Trick helmet used in the Move Along sequence of A New Hope. We also have a Sand Trooper costume from the same movie. Our next London auction is on November the 14th through to the 17th, and the catalogue is available now at propstore.com.
So we're just going to let everyone know with propstore.com, we've got a great 10% off code. So if you want to get 10% off a
Code, Brian. Tell him the code, Brian. Tell him the code.
Easy, Tiger. At the buy now section, all you've got to do is put in the code Brian10, and that gives you 10% off at the website to buy whatever you like. Christmas is just around the corner, Dan. You could buy me a nice sword from Gladiator.
A lovely sword.
A lovely sword. Let's go back to Sophia. Sophia, welcome back. I've got to say, there are rumours with this show that everyone is coming back for the last episode. Is that correct? Can you confirm?
Confirm the last episode?
Yeah, apparently there's rumours that everyone, all the cast, is going to be in the last episode.
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
No comment.
She's chilled out, Brian. We've already done that. She's chilled out. She's not worried. She didn't shit herself.
I haven't read the script. I'm not sure. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't know.
Right, so I will delete that question. So, off the back of our sponsor's message just there, Prop Store, with this show now finished and it's done and dusted, did you keep anything from the set? Did you keep any mementos? Because if I'm right in saying they've actually demolished that town. Am I right in saying that?
I think you are right in saying that. I'm not sure exactly what went down afterwards, but I did take. I can't. I would feel so weird just taking something, so I just took a really nice stroll around downtown Smallville and just sort of sat in the Gazette and took a bunch of photos and everything. So I just have my sweet little memories. I also I took some of the wardrobe, like a few pieces of Chrissy things that like the first dress she wore on screen in the opening episode, and the Smallville Fire Department like shirt that says Cushing on the back. I was like, that's something that I need to keep. So like more than anything, it was just these very special sort of nuggets of.
Do you know what? I am waiting if they do an auction of all the props and costumes from the show. I know that CW or Warner Brothers, whoever owns the rights to this show, I'm sure they'll be protective of it. But I'd love to have pieces from the show to add to my collection. I mean, obviously the Superman suit is going to be out of my league because that's probably going to go for thousands. But a street sign, it would be good enough for me.
I'll be there at that auction with you.
I tell you what, Sophia. Normally we get a few people when we ask them that question. Did you get any souvenirs? I normally chirps in and go, "What did you steal? What did you rob?" You just offered up 3 things there that you've just decided to help yourself to anyway. So I'm a big fan of that. A big fan of the hustle. Very well played. I just had it. I wanted this dress.
It wasn't nailed down.
No, I went through the proper channels. It was very you could ask anyone.
Yeah,
I love it.
I've got text messages. I've got screen grabs.
It's like she's on trial. It's like you can ask anyone. Honestly,
very nervous. Honestly,
I mean,
but
how was the atmosphere? In season 4, knowing it was the last ever season, knowing that would be it. So, doing your scenes in different places, it being the Firehouse or the Gazette or the CAF. I mean, knowing that will be the last time you ever do a scene in those areas. How did that feel? Because I know what it's like when you do a show and you do a show for so long, then got to say goodbye. And it's like saying goodbye to a member of your family.
Yeah, it was a little confusing because I again, like I had said, I don't get ahead of myself as best as I can. I've always like especially recently just been trying to stay present, and through that process I didn't want my uh sadness to overwhelm the joy of being there.
Mm.
So I became really good at being like, oh, like we don't have to worry about this right now at all. Like even when it reps, like but this is still gonna air. So I kept sort of pushing it for myself a little bit, that feeling of sadness that like, oh my God, like this is actually the last season for quite some time. And I don't recommend that because then you just sort of fall apart by yourself. And there's no one there to be like, it's okay, you're gonna be fine. But it was a very surreal feeling, and everyone's sort of level of that hitting varied. Um, so it
Mm.
kind of it was a little tricky to figure out.
I mean, did you have the moment where the director or the producer or whoever does it shouts, "That's a wrap for Sophia"? I mean, did they do that, or when you hear that, or you see the behind the scenes?
Yeah, I now I'm gonna tear up. I definitely
Oh
fell
God,
apart.
sorry. I do it
Thank
to
you.
everyone, Dan. I'm making everyone cry. You know,
I know.
it's therapy.
He was so enthusiastic at the beginning. So
I know.
enthusiastic. And now look.
I didn't think that you were gonna get me. No, yeah, that happened, and it was really I I really didn't think that it was gonna hit me in the way I did, in the way that it did, because I had such a great sort of like um, distance about it
Mhm.
throughout this season, and even just like talking to the other cast members, just being like, "It's okay, we're good." Don't like. I just kept trying to make light of it and be like, "Let's enjoy, let's have fun," and then the reality like sort of sunk very
Mm.
quickly. That's a series wrap on Sophia, and I just like they handed me a microphone to say something, and I couldn't put together a sentence. I was just like crying my eyes out. Um, but even then, like after that, it didn't really feel like a goodbye.
Mm.
And it's never really felt like a goodbye. I'm so fortunate and lucky for this entire family, um, both here and in Canada and just all over. You know, I just feel it didn't really feel like a goodbye. It felt like a graduation.
Mm.
Great
It's
way
like
of
I
putting it.
suppose saying goodbye to a friend that's moving abroad. You know, you may not see them, but they'll always be with you.
Yeah.
And you know, I asked Dylan the same question last night. I said that playing a character for so long, I'm sure that you've carried a bit of Chrissy with you, and you will do. I mean, what part of Chrissy will always stay with you? You know, in everyday life.
I think that I there's so much about Chrissy that I feel like is just I don't really know where one starts and one ends sometimes. I feel like we share so many characteristics. Like, I hope I'm as ambitious as she is. I also fall over my words constantly, which is hilarious. So cute of her because she's a journalist. Um, but I think that there is a bit of I think that she just has a real joy of life and just like an excitement for everything. She's kind of like a hype person. She just gets people excited. And I think that that is a bit of of her that I would like to keep with me.
And I think that everyone needs a Chrissy in their life. That's the
Yeah.
way, because she just seems such a fun character to have around as well. Sorry, Dan, what was you going to say?
I was going to ask Sophia, like when it comes to playing a character for a certain amount of time. I mean, if you look at Elizabeth, I think she's been Lois Lane for about 40 years now. You know what I mean? She's been doing it for a long time, a lot of different projects. But there's an element of, I know this is going to sound insane because it's you portraying the character, but it seems like a real arty thing to say as well, which I think you know where I'm going to go. Like, do you feel like you learned something from the character that's kind of changed you as a person yourself? Like you go, oh, do you know what? I really like Chrissy's moral compass in this scenario. Do you know what? I should take that on board a little bit and things like that.
Yeah, are you kidding me? I think that. Oh,
no, it's all right.
What
You're
happened?
still there. Yeah, no, it's fine. You're still there.
Oh. All right. No, I mean, absolutely. I think that her confidence is something that I love. Like she just I don't know. Like there's just so much of her growth that I was very obsessed with, whether it was like standing up for what she believed in, even though it was an uncomfortable situation, and stepping into situations where she not only had to be confident, but she had to be brave, and wasn't avoiding. She just doesn't have that avoidant quality. And I feel like I oftentimes will be like, oh, it's all right. Like just sort of kind of go about my stuff. And even if something, doesn't sit well with me, sometimes I have a hard time like stepping into a space where I can voice my thoughts and opinions. She doesn't seem to have that problem. And so I kind of want to take that little bit with me wherever I go. Just try to be Chrissy sometimes.
I mean, looking back over, your time on the show, what would you say was Chrissy's shining moment, on the show? And personally for you, what do you feel is your shining moment as a performer in the role of Chrissy?
Her shining moment in the show, I feel like, honestly, the season finale of season 1. I think that when it was solidified that she went into this partnership with Lois, for the Smallville, like that was her shining moment. She went from, being at the Smallville Gazette, doing everything on her own, to then meeting her professional hero, and then joining forces with her, and then now being her partner. Like, how wild is that? Who does that happen to? So, like, what
it's
is
happening
shining
to Brian right now? To be honest, Sophia, Brian's fangirling right now with me. I get it.
It's very clear.
So, I mean, where would you like Chrissy to end up? What's her end story? Because obviously we're going to end season 4, but where would you like to see Chrissy in 10 years' time?
10 years' time, with her family, working as a journalist. I think that taking a bit of everything that she's learned from Lois Lane and applying it into her life, and knowing that it is possible to have it all,
Definitely. And we're on, I think it's episode 4, or 5. I mean, compared to now to the end, the season finale, what number are we on currently on a scale of 1 to 10, in the way of what we've got to expect?
On a scale of 1 to 10, where are we?
Yeah. Like if the finale is going to be 10.
What's that?
So if the finale is going to be 10 and we're on season, I mean, what level are we at now? I mean, how much more excitement can we bear left on, of the season?
She's
I
giggling. She knows something's coming. She knows
Oh,
something's
do you know
coming that
what?
we've
Do you
not
know what? They
seen.
are
She knows
professionals,
what's
Dan.
coming.
They're professionals at interviews. Look at Fatima from. She didn't tell us what
Yeah.
she was going to get up to in
Nothing.
that show, and yeah,
love that show. But I mean, I kind of want to say that, like, even though so much has happened, I there is still so much more to come. My gut was to be like, we haven't even scratched the surface.
oh dear.
Like,
Do you know what? I want to
so-
see Chrissy knock Lex out. Just knock him out. just literally, you know, when he's beaten, just Chrissy just come over and just hit him or something with a
Bosh him
bag
out.
or something like that.
Yeah.
But with Halloween just around the corner, I got told by someone the other day that you were a horror fan. So I want to know your top 3 horror movies that everyone should watch tomorrow on All Hallows Eve. I mean, what is the top 3 movies that you would say that we need to watch?
top 3 movies. I am a horror fan. I mean, you gotta first of all, you gotta do a little camp and you gotta do Scream. You gotta start with the original.
Yep.
And then honestly, the movie that scared me as a young child, which was Halloween H2O. I remember never being able to sleep. It's a core memory for me. And speaking of another memory, probably The Ring was another core memory.
The Ring's a great show because there was that period in the late 90s where it got a bit campy with I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream and Cherry Falls and things like that. And then the fact that you've just said Halloween H20 you watched when you were a kid has just aged out me and Brian something stupid there because we were in our second decade of our lives at that point, and you said it scared you as a kid, so thanks for that. But the Ring was part of this like resurgence, wasn't it? Of you know, when they started
It's like the Japanese,
the Japanese horror movies. Like, what a great shout that was.
Yeah. And then also Christmas just around the corner. What's on the top of your Christmas list?
What's on top of my Christmas list? I don't know. Maybe, honestly, I'd like a quick little travel trip. I would love that as like a little, as on for what I would like for Christmas. Maybe just like a quick little getaway trip, something like that.
And where to?
City or Sun?
Yeah, City or Sun.
Ooh. My gut says City, honestly.
I tell you what, if you do Rio, you can do both.
Yeah, that's very true.
That is very true. Maybe I will do Rio.
But just be very careful. Don't buy a coconut. They'll outdo you. I bought a coconut on Copacabana Beach once. Gave them like £20, and they didn't give me any change back.
They're like £4. They're like, Brian, I don't know. What were you doing?
They saw me coming. Do you know what I mean? Never again. But you know what, Sophia? Thank you so much for coming on to the show. And it's heartbreaking that literally now I'm doing the rounds with all the cast I absolutely love. This is probably this is, I don't know why I'm saying probably, this is the last time I'll have you on for Superman and Lois. So that's even more heartbreaking. But hopefully, fingers crossed. You're more than welcome to come back whenever you want. So any project in the future, doesn't matter what it is, if it's a commercial, if it's, a theatre thing, just come on the show again because we'd love to have you back on the show. But thank you for everyone that's been watching. And I was going to say, and asking the questions, but no one's asked any questions, but we've got loads of people watching. So obviously we've done a good job, Dan, in asking the most important questions. I think that's the key.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. Sophia, don't go anywhere. We're going to end the stream now and we'll say goodbye properly. But we're going to end the stream. Thank you so much. We're back next week with John Travolta himself, Mr. Eric Valdez. So I'm looking forward to that. Any dirt, before we go, any dirt that you can spill on Eric? What's the most annoying thing about Eric? Has he got any annoying... Because he's got to have like sort of... Does he eat noisily? Does he?
He's perfect. It's crazy. There's nothing annoying about Eric. It's wild.
Oh,
It's
It really
wild.
annoys when someone's that beautiful.
I know. It's
He's
gonna be
got
like
nothing.
Beauty and the Beast. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
innit? Just tell us he hates dogs or something like that.
I got nothing, but if you find something else that would be great, because now that I'm thinking about it, there's nothing wrong with him, and that's why. Sorry, I'm sorry, Dan. I know.
Damn it. So that's it. We've got the perfect man on next week, Dan. So join us next week at 8:00, because the clocks went back in the UK, but they didn't go back for you yet because they go back at the weekend. So we had to change all the timings our end because of daylight saving, which I think is useless anyway. But Sophia, don't go anywhere. We'll end the stream. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next week.